Hey everybody, it's Innovision! And I've heard from a few folks in the community that after getting a Windows update or after SteamOS had a problem in their dual boot setup, this is the setup where Windows was already pre-installed and then you added SteamOS using the custom install script, that SteamOS would no longer boot. And it's for this reason I created a custom repair script that will repair your SteamOS installation if you're using this dual boot setup. In today's video, I'll show you how to use this repair script. Then I'm going to show you Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess running on our gaming handhelds using an open source recompile project that runs the game natively on your own hardware. Stick around because you don't want to miss any of it. As we get started, I'd like to thank Sarah, a subscriber of our community, for her tip in my tip jar that allowed me to finish working on this custom repair script. Again, this is for dual boot setups that already had Windows pre-installed on the device, like any of these handhelds I have here, and you use the custom SteamOS install script to add SteamOS after the fact. The way this custom repair script works is you're going to provide partition indices as to where the SteamOS repair script will install or reinstall SteamOS operating system. The nice thing about this is it can reinstall SteamOS without deleting Windows. It'll leave Windows completely intact, and more importantly, all of your games that you download in SteamOS, since they're saved in the home partition, they're going to be preserved at the end of this process. So the only thing that happens is the core operating system files will get reinstalled. Now you will lose some of your system side settings like your resolution in desktop mode and a couple other things, but for the most part, most of your user data will be preserved. After I show you the custom repair script, be sure to stick around for the rest of the video. I'm going to show you how to run Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess natively as a PC game. We're going to boot off of our SteamOS recovery media, then we're going to use a custom repair script to specify the exact locations in your file system where SteamOS is installed. And so the first thing we're going to want to do is power down our device, and this works with any of the Windows-based gaming handhelds that you already have a dual boot setup. That means that it can work on your Legion Go, it can work on your ROG Ally. The first thing we're going to want to do is have everything hooked up. I highly recommend having a mouse and keyboard, and so I have a power cable coming into my device right here, and it's hooked up to a USB dock that has Ethernet. It provides power to my console, and it's got my mouse and keyboard hooked up, and more importantly, my SteamOS install media is already plugged in. And so I'm going to hold volume plus and tap the power button, and then let go of the power button, keeping my finger on volume up, and it's going to allow me to select the boot order. We'll go under BIOS setup, and I have to find my USB device, which should be at the very bottom of the list here. And so I'm going to push it all the way up to the top, so that's the first bootable option. Alright, now that it's the topmost option, I'm going to click exit. I'm going to select this option to save and exit. And so it will start booting off of the SteamOS install media. And since I already have a dual boot set up, secure boot has been disabled, so the SteamOS kernel can boot no problem. Alright, now that we're in our SteamOS desktop, the first thing that we need to do is actually install Firefox. Now I've already gone through the process and done that, but when you click on Firefox for the first time, it'll open the Discover App Store. And since we're running off of Flash Media and it's a live Linux distribution, it's very slow. And so it's going to take several minutes to install Firefox, but it'll pop up here and give you the option to install it. If you see any updates here, do not install them. Only install Firefox, because if you install the updates, it's going to pull in updates from SteamOS and it's going to break your install media. And so in this tutorial, I'm using the 3.8.1 or 2 beta install media, and you see how slow it's taking even just to open the Discover Store. At this point, you should have Firefox installed, and you'll navigate over to the Innovision Games SteamOS Repair Device Custom Script. And I'll have a link in the description of the video. And so once you've navigated here, you're going to go to this code option, click on it, and you'll select the HTTPS option, and then copy this URL to clipboard, and then we're going to open a terminal or a console. I typed in CD to make sure we're in the home directory, and I'm going to type clear to give me some screen real estate. I'm going to type git clone and then paste that URL. And it's downloaded. And with it downloaded, the next thing we're going to want to do is open our file manager and go to the home folder. And you see here, it created a SteamOS repair device custom. And we're going to go into that folder and we're going to right click on repair device custom, select copy, and then we're going to paste it in this tools folder right here. And this is all the repair tools that Valve ships with SteamOS for Steam Deck devices or Steam Deck-like devices. And I guess at this point, it's the same thing that's going to be applied for like Steam Machine, for example. And so we're going to paste that file here, and we're going to navigate to the tools directory back in our console. So I'm going to type in cd space tools, and you see there, now we've got repair device custom.sh. And so I'm just going to go ahead and close out of Firefox just to keep things running a little bit smoother. And I'm going to go ahead and close my file manager. And the next thing we're going to want to do is open KDE Partition Manager so we can take a look at our file system layout. And there's a few things I want to show you here. Now this device is set up the same way that I showed how to set up a dual boot using the custom install script. And so Windows came pre-installed on the device. The very first partition is the EFI partition for booting Windows. Then there's some reserved data. Then I have a terabyte for Windows itself, and then our Windows recovery data. Remember, we had to move this partition. It was at the end. We moved it forward so that way SteamOS can be installed on everything after that. And so if we look at this, the first 1, 2, 3, 4 partitions are related to Windows. So SteamOS starts installing on the 5th partition. So it's partition 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. The 12th one is our home partition. This is where the biggest amount of free space is. So take note of this. In this setup, the first partition index is partition 5, and that's where SteamOS starts and it ends at 12. But if you followed my dual boot guide, yours should look just like mine. Alright, so now we're going to come back in here. We're going to want to paste this command. I'll have it in the description of the video as well. So again, we're in the tools directory. We've already copied our repair device custom script, and so the command is sudo space / repair _ device _ custom .sh space and then system. This is very important. So if you use the keyword all at the end of this command line, the repair script is going to completely wipe your device. But if we say system here, it's only going to repair or modify the SteamOS partitions and where SteamOS is installed. So it's going to leave Windows intact. This is going to keep all your games because they live in the home partition. And so the way this repair script works, it's going to reinstall SteamOS without messing with your downloaded games and your data. Also, it's important to note, since you're reinstalling the operating system, you'll have to set your root or administrator password again. And so now I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here. And the very first thing it's doing is prompting us for where it's going to be installed. Now if you're on a gaming handheld like I am, this is already the correct path here. And so this is the first addressable NVMe SSD. So I'm just going to hit enter. And it's asking for a SSD installation suffix, which is P is the default. You can just hit enter here. And if you're using the exact same setup I'm already using, you can just start with 5 being the first index for SteamOS's installation. And so I'm just going to hit enter, and it's just counting up here. Enter, enter. We'll make our way all the way up to the 12th partition, which is going to be the home partition. Once you've made it here, it's letting you know that it's going to try to repair by reinstalling SteamOS. Some customizations will be lost. All your downloaded games will still be on disk if this completes successfully. And so I'm going to go ahead and click proceed here, and so it's just running, and it takes a couple minutes depending on the speed of your device. Alright, and it just finished, and at the very end here it's saying SteamOS reinstall is complete, and you can click proceed to reboot, or you can click cancel to stay in the install environment. I'm just going to go ahead and click proceed. And as soon as it's done, SteamOS should automatically be set as the first bootable option. I'm going to go ahead and unplug my USB install media. Alright, I'm unplugging. Alright, I'm back in, and it kept my performance overlay settings, and it seems to keep game settings. It's more system settings that are going to be lost. So if we go back into our desktop, I want to go ahead and re-enable the administrator password in case we want to install DecuLoader or DecuLoader plugins. Alright, so we're going to go to System here and then Console. And to set the password, we're just going to type in PASSWD, hit enter, and see it's prompting us for a new password because it reinstalled the Linux operating system. Alright, and so my password's set, and I'm going to go ahead and hit play. With all the rumors of there being an Ocarina of Time remake for the Switch 2, this gets me excited because this, you can still tell the age of this game, but it's quite impressive that we're able to run this without emulation, 144 frames per second, beautiful OLED display. And the same steps that I showed you here work on any of your handhelds. So the first thing I'm going to do is switch over to desktop, and I'll share a link in the description of the video for the open source project that has the recompiled Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. There's also one for Ocarina of Time. So the project that I like to use is called Dusklight, and so they've reverse engineered the game executable for Twilight Princess so that you can run it on a variety of hardware. And so the only requirement is that you have a dump of your GameCube disc. I'm a big advocate of paying for all of your video games. I've worked on a AAA video game myself. Buy the game. First thing we're going to do is download Dusklight. And so this is the latest release here. Click on that. And we're going to download this x86_64 Linux app image. So for simplicity, I'm going to move this over to my home directory. And I'm just going to make a folder called Twilight Princess. I'm going to move the Dusklight over there, and then you would just copy your disk image here. So with your legally obtained dump of your GameCube game of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in the same folder as Dusklight, we can double click on Dusklight to launch it, and so it's going to ask us to select our disk image. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, and I'm going to point it to the one that's in the folder with it. And now you can choose how you want to play it. You could play a classic unmodified version of the game, or Dusk mode, which has several quality of life improvements, including graphics improvements. So I'm picking that one. And I'll allow diagnostic information because it helps them out. So I'm going to go ahead and quit, and I want to add it to my Steam library. Click Add Game, add a non-Steam game. And it doesn't show up in this list here, that's fine. But it takes me right to the last location I used. And you can do fancy things like give it an icon and stuff like that, but for the sake of continuing with the video, I'm just going to go ahead and exit this, and I'm going to return back to gaming mode. Go to my non-Steam apps, and there it is, Dusklight. Alright, and so I'll go ahead and configure some of my settings here. Alright, so you'll want to toggle full screen, and I'm going to use the default settings here. Now, as you use this custom repair script, let me know how things are going. Drop a comment. Be sure to join our Discord server. That's where all the cool cats are hanging out. But more importantly, I'm but one person, and so I can only test a handful of scenarios. So while you use these tools, they'll have better exposure to things that may work well or might go wrong. And so your feedback will help me improve these tools. Also, be sure to drop a comment, hit a like button on the video because it helps us out. Now, what do you all think about the Twilight Princess PC port? It's kind of giving me a glimpse into the future of what we might see with an Ocarina of Time remake on the Switch 2. I'm super hyped. I hope all those rumors are true. That's something I've dreamed of for a long time. Until next time, hit that like button and subscribe. That way you don't miss all the amazing tech, toys, and gaming tips we've got coming down the pipeline.